Yeah, I decided to make a longer video about the topic about losing your humanity in relation to religions and spiritual movements and stuff like that. Because in the video, I kind of stumbled upon a reasoning which I think kind of made sense. And that reasoning was, let's say you have um, 8 billion people, right? And you exclude the majority because, let's say, they are of not of your religion, right? Uh, I think there is some mathematical thing behind it. I think it's kind of like a simulation thing that, let's say, your particular group, your religious group is, let's say, small, right? But the ideology is very, let's say, strict in a way that it kind of excludes all those that are not following your specific small religion or spiritual movement, and you judge those that do not based on that, like they're less human, or they won't go to heaven, or they won't be saved. And perhaps what might actually make sense on a simulation level, that the amount of people you exclude from your, let's say, from your encompassing of your, let's say, potential love, perhaps that's also the amount of your internal humanity, the qualities of being a human, like, the nice qualities, is that might be also what you lose, right? So let's say you're a very small spiritual group, and you kind of reject the majority of humanity because of this particular system of saying, okay, what I follow is the best, and the rest I exclude because they are, you know, they are clearly not on the right path, like I am, because I am on the right path, and therefore they are not, right? So let's say your group is only like 100,000 people on the entire planet, and you exclude the majority. It could be over time in some ways that, depending also on the intensity of the rejection of other people, obviously, that you literally might end up as a kind of sterilized soul in terms of human emotion, right? Because you have to discard such a large portion of humanity. So if it gets quantified as kind of internal humanity, as being a human with human beautiful emotions, that those might be stripped away. It kind of makes sense in terms of a simulation, right? Let's say you call this a simulation, and you discard 99% of the people. It could be you might lose 99% of your humanity, and with humanity, I mean, having human emotions, having those kind of complexions within yourself, right? And we think human emotions as being a low thing because it's not divine, and it is not high consciousness. But actually, in a previous video, I already imposed my knowledge that the human body is actually a 5D system, because it knows, right? Always, it knows when it's hungry, or it knows other stuff, like when it's feeling sick or something. And also intuitively, you feel things in your body, right? Which is often in some ways more accurate than your mental reasoning, or you feel it in your central nervous system in a way. Um, so yeah, of course you can say, oh yeah, other people can convert, but um, it's like, yeah, that might technically solve the problem. Let's say if all people of humanity convert to your movement or your religion. Yeah, but then of course, then your movement is extremely expansion. Either it has to be the supreme truth, and that it spreads very organically without effort, like the nature that grows, right? And people just take to it like they do with I don't know, with like people use the internet, right? It just kind of organically happens because it's better than not having it in a way. But if it kind of has to grow through conquest or manipulation or false promises, yeah, then like internet didn't give false promises, right? It over delivered in terms of its capacity, uh, in a way, or so. So yeah, with the discarding and stuff and rejection, it's not only about. It would be funny if it's purely population size dynamics on the simulation level. It kind of would make sense because you can kind of uh, on the simulation level you can quantify it more easily, right? Like, oh, okay, it's like a perfect karmic system in some sense, right? Like, let's say you follow some religion and it discards 70% of the rest of humanity, then you say, oh, okay, then 70% of the human qualities that you can have by accepting what is, you will therefore be denied. Or all the people that stick to this belief system, right? Um, because you also see in many religion, they lose some of their humanity, like they are able to do quite cruel things um, to others when they discard, and it's most religions fall to that, like. And I've seen this myself, like in Sahaja Yoga, you have people that are quite fanatic, right? Let's say all the people that are outside of this yoga are evil, or they are um, possessed, or they are just low consciousness or whatever, some form of that, right? And personally, this was never my perception of it, of reality. I mean, it's the division of where high or highly spiritual or evolved souls are. It is not based on religion or like ideology or some kind of human created system. It's just like they're organically scattered, like I don't know, like you know what is organically scattered. Yeah, maybe for with some metric or some reason, but you just kind of encountered them here and there, and it's not about are they Christian or are they Hindu or are they Muslim or Jew or whatever. It's not really about that. I mean, in fact, being in religion or quite dogmatic systems can, of course, also it can be good in some way, like it protects you against certain destructive tendencies. It can also limit you, right? That people kind of feel they have to escape that system. And it's kind of funny because in the linguistic dimensional reasoning model, religions in general and quite heavy dogmatic things, they always kind of have a local truth kind of place. They kind of have a place in that system in a way, but it's not like some high truth. Like everybody has something, right? Um, but all these religions is quite dogmatic and dualistic. Apart from maybe some like certain branches of Hinduism, mysticism, Gnostics, or something like that might be less, yeah. But yeah, it is easy, like, because for myself also, I had this quite fanatical phase in the yoga system, in this, which is kind of a religion in some way, right? Deemed as the best religion also. And I would say in terms of like awakening the Kundalini, working with chakras, it's quite good in a way. But certain things, it's quite sectarian in a way, you know. There are stuff like arranged marriages and other control mechanisms that discourages and judges when you have questions, or when you question like the system, right? Like you question a matrix. It's just a new matrix. Like most religions is. Or spiritual is like, oh, we take you out of the matrix, but it's just another matrixy matrix in some sense. Maybe more spiritual matrix, but still a matrix. Yeah, so I also had this fanatic phase, you know, that you stick to the rules and you judge others that do not, and I still judge. I judge people for sure. Like, I have to be honest. Is it good? No, but on what I judge people now, well, if they stink and they can do something about it. Yeah, sometimes can be petty judging. You know, I'm not some supreme consciousness. Like, if I feel people are kind of messed up, drug addicts or something, and I don't want to be like that. I feel like, you know, it's I feel irky next to that. Yeah, you kind of judge, but it's like, you know, it's kind of also logical, right? So judgment you kind of do because it's kind of, but in a sense, like, you just avoid where you not want to go, or you avoid the people you don't really want to be around with, and it's not based on religion. It's more, you know, based on the presentation of the person or attitude, or does the person look dangerous or not. It's also danger avoidance, whether it is physical or perhaps energetic danger avoidance as well. Yeah, I wouldn't say that is more avoiding danger, right? So you cannot say, okay, that will harm my humanity, because it's just a particular individual you do not particularly know, probably. But it's not like a group of people, not a percentage of human population, right? Yeah, like, personally, I do not like, per se, like, certain religions that advocate that they are superior, the most superior religion in the world, so whatever, right? And that kind of want control of over others. I cannot say I like them, and yes, perhaps that's a judgment on them. And is that good? I don't know. I feel if someone deliberately, purposefully put their boots on other people, their neck, and take away their freedoms, just the freedom to exist, right? Yeah, I think that's not very nice, because I wouldn't want to be subjugated to such a oppressive system in a way. And often those type of religion that take away the freedom of others, they sacrifice their humanity in the process. But they think they believe they are right, of course. And it's quite easy to fall into that trap that you know you're right, you're correct. And it's always interesting because in the spiritual way there is this sense, oh, you should have no doubts about yourself. But why though? Why can't you have doubts about yourself? It doesn't mean that when you I mean, it's quite dangerous not to have doubts about yourself, because you kind of settle at a point of evolution, right? Because you tend to settle on a particular doctrine when you don't have doubts about yourself, or doubts, and it also means doubts about whatever you're following, right? You think it's the end game, the end point, but you don't have divine powers. You don't shoot divine light out of your eyes like some saints did in old days, or beam love and radiance all around you. No, so so you're not there yet. If people touch you and they don't feel orgasmic ecstasy and love, then you just haven't made it yet. No, I don't think it's necessary. But it would be funny though. Yeah, so you know, to doubt yourself is quite okay. Like when you go on the when I went on this linguistic dimensional reasoning model journey, you're actually constantly in the doubt. You're constantly flipping between two opposing truth that can be truth in certain circumstances. So if I didn't doubt myself, I would just be stuck somewhere and couldn't move further and think that was the end of it. But it's never the end. You see, with reality, it's a recursive thing, but it scales in ever growing subtlety and complexity. So, but once you stop doubting, stop doubt. If you stop doubting, it's also when you stop questioning. You think, oh yeah, I have found it. I have found it. So I don't have to ask the questions because I don't have doubts. But you can have you can be doubtless in a sense that yes, I exist and I'm on this journey, so that I do not doubt. But to doubt, to never doubt that you're wrong or that you make mistakes, I think that's not very wise, because that's the point where you stop, right? It's like in a video game where you feel I don't where you say, okay, for me at this point there are no more questions over the horizons, no more challenges to face. Then you say, I am doubtless, I have achieved it, so I stop at this point in the game. But it's like it's just something you decide, like, right? Right? It's just you decide that you stop there. Or maybe some doctrine, but the universe and its mysteries, they're quite I mean, you have dark matter, you have the space outside this universe. You got this, I saw today, you have a black area of like 33 million light years across, a spherical, there nothing exists inside. I mean, it shouldn't be possible. So there's a lot of mysteries that we don't know. So to say I am doubtless, yeah, you can be doubtless about your own existence in some way, but it also gets boring, to never have questions. In a way, it's like giving up. It's like dying in a way, because you finish the game while you haven't finished the game. So you create a kind of weird paradox, a loop, kind of you freeze in place actually, because you take a position, you take a pose, right? A stuck position in a certain place. But technically, you cannot really know how far the dimensions go, the reality, right? So how many layers of the simulation there are. I'm not saying you should frantically go hysterically, like find the answer to the expense of your journey, but you know, Being curious is part of the journey, and being curious is also an aspect of Kundalini itself, right? It's an aspect of innocence itself to be curious. So the moment anyone shuts that off inside you, or you yourself, you might have sacrificed part of your humanity. Because I think it's human to be curious, and it's human to be um, investigative about different things, about things around you, about other people. Yeah. So, you can stay curious, and you can and not lose your humanity in the process by excluding things just because they're different. I'm not saying that you have to accept destructive behavior that are truly not good empirically for anybody. Like, I don't know, shooting yourself in the face is clearly not healthy, right? uh, Mostly. Unless you're the Hulk or something, or Superman. But you get the point, right?